Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Scripps. I'm the director of the Office of Cultural Affairs, and I'm absolutely delighted to be here this afternoon. Arts and culture, did I say it wrong yet? One of the implementation challenges of the cultural plan has been our name change. No, in all honesty, it's been one of the best things. It is wonderful to be here with you all today as we report out on almost a 1-year anniversary of the adoption of the cultural plan. And there's so many people in the room that worked incredibly hard throughout 2018 on that effort. But what's been amazing is how many more people have joined our little troop of warriors, if you will, in the arts ecosystem. And so today here, we have an update for you all with the work that's been accomplished or the things that are underway and what's to come. And we're intentionally doing this so that we always are taking stock of the progress and the work to come. Before we get started, I wanted to acknowledge the Arts and Culture Advisory Commissioners that are here. We've had a lot of turnover and change at City Hall, as you probably all know. And with it, we have changes on the Arts and Culture Advisory Commission. Today, I hope I don't miss anybody, Linda Blaze, Joe Trezilla, Brad Spellacy, Yolanda Alameda, Mickey Bragalone, Elliga Johnson, and our new chair, Sam Santiago, are all here. We may have an unintentional quorum, but don't worry, it's okay. because it's a publicly posted meeting. But before I go too much further, I was among many who were delighted when Sam Santiago was named as our new chair. And I think we were all anxiously awaiting that news. So before we go too much further, I thought I'd let him say a few words, as he was also on the Cultural Plan Steering Committee.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good afternoon, buenas tardes. I know you have no idea who I am, but I see a lot of familiar faces that I've known for a long time, as young as I may be. And I am delighted to be here today. I'm just beyond honored and humbled to be here with all of you this afternoon. I know very, very clearly in my mind that I stand on the shoulders of giants and that these are very big shoes to fill. But I got confirmation from John Paul that they have been adjusted to my shoe size, so I'll give it my best. My name is Sam Santiago. As Jennifer mentioned, as of last Wednesday, I'm the chair of the Arts and Culture Advisory Commission. And thank you so much for taking time of your busy schedules. You're out there putting art where it belongs in communities across the city and working really hard to make it happen. We learned about that. We've learned about that personally. We learned about that over 5 years as I participated in many panels and as I participated in the development of the Dallas Cultural Plan. Honored to have an opportunity to do that. So not only do we know how important this work is for you, but how important it is to have the Office of Arts and Culture serving the city of Dallas, unlike most other cities in this country. So we're lucky to have Jennifer and her team and the commitment of mayor after mayor in the city of Dallas to continue this work to our benefit, really to our blessing. This event is a perfect way to onboard some of us new to the commission. Again, no commission business here today. And I look forward to hearing what progress has been made towards our community's priorities this past year. Thank you to all the supporters, very specifically, and the stakeholders behind each initiative. Please note that as your commissioner, I look forward to the work ahead. Very excited about it. Half of it is bliss ignorance, right? Or ignorance is bliss. Half of it is really knowing how important this is for the city and how personally I am so passionate about it. Working with all of you across art forms, organizations large and small, delighting and challenging audiences young and old in every neighborhood is what makes Dallas the vibrant city we all know and love. Gracias.
Thank you. I wanted to let the Dallas Children's Theater, they were such incredible partners throughout the cultural plan. And when we were looking for a place to host everybody, we didn't know how many people we were going to get. And they stepped up and said, well, come please, come and report from here. So I'm going to let Sandra Sessions Robinson say a few words.
Well, good afternoon and welcome, everyone. We are happy you are in our space. We're very proud of the fact that we serve 250,000 every year, many who are coming to the arts for the very first time. And so to be a front door such that we are, it was a pleasure I served as a representative of Dallas Children's Theater on the Cultural Plan Committee and am proud to continue to be involved with it. Hopefully you are not a stranger to our work. There is no excuse. There is at least 10 to 12 shows going on every single year here. Right now, we have Very Hungry Caterpillar on the stage, and it's for the young and the young at heart. It really is a beautiful play. We're very proud of the fact that we'll be presenting a play called Last Stop on Market Street. It's all about kindness. It's a really precious play that we hope you'll think about coming, and we've gotten a lot of support from the community. And this morning we announced that we will be presenting a new teen edition created by Dallas Children's Theater called Andy Boy, and it focuses on a transgender teen. So we invite you to follow that and hopefully come see that show in February as well. Again, welcome and enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you. Okay, when we were thinking about how to revisit the cultural plan with you, if you attended any of the meetings, you might recognize the white totem poles in the back, but they all started with an artist statement, and it helps centered our work as the city's agency in what we were all doing. So we're gonna revisit that, and then we'll also start with an interactive exercise before we go into any of the reports. Throughout the cultural plan, one of the big findings, and the Dallas Morning News has written articles about it, was the literary art scene in Dallas. And more than any other person, I will say Will Evans educated me when I first came into this role. So I'm gonna turn it over to Will Evans from Deep Vellum Publishing and Fatima Hersey, one of his poets. Take it away.
Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks to Jennifer and all the work of the city's Office of Arts and Culture. So we all reprogrammed this in our brain. So if anybody's met me in the last 6 years since I moved to Dallas, you know I shout very loudly and frequently about the importance of the literary arts for the city of Dallas, to share the story of Dallas and also to share the stories of the world with Dallas. And so we're a nonprofit literary arts organization. We're definitely not the first one in the city of Dallas. I know the Writers Garret is in the room here tonight, and Word Space is around as well. I don't know if I've seen anybody here, but there's always more to be done. And one of the things that we really need to do in the city of Dallas is to give a platform for the literary artists, the writers, to connect with readers. And that's something that publishing does. It creates a public for a piece of art. The same way that a theater creates a stage with which to engage with art, publishing sets a stage for the world to engage with these literary artists. Thanks to a generous grant from the city's Office of Arts and Culture this past year, we published our first authors from the city of Dallas proper in a project that used every step of the way artists, typesetters, and printers based here in the city of Dallas to create a work of art emblematic of our city. And so through that grant, we were able to commission 3 new short books of poetry by 3 of the greatest Dallas poets. And like with that, we're now able to bridge all these great authors from around the world that we were kind of known for in the first 5 years with the great authors from our own backyard to share that with the world. This is very important to us because it's all about collaboration. We can't do it alone. Books are kind of cool because you can bring all these different art forms together, and then it gives a platform for amazing artists like Fatima. So we did these 3 books. You'll see Fatima's is one of them, and it's just the start of a collaboration, but we've also gotten to know each other through the Dark Moon series that she does. And so I wanted to see the floor. Because of the generosity of this grant, we were able to commission a brand new work by Fatima, and then we were able to bring it out for readers not just in Dallas, but around the world. That's the goal. That's what we do. But enough about that. Here's a real artist.
Hi, I'm Fatima. Thanks, Will. So a lot of people know me from my typewriter poetry, which is where I go out and I type poems on the spot. However, I'm really grateful to the city of Dallas for being able to give me so many other opportunities to be in the city. So for example, when we had Arts Month a few years ago and it was focused on poetry, it was so wonderful to see that the city actually brought together a committee of poets and said, how do we do this? You know, make it happen. And then the fact that we have these artist grants. So not only am I, grateful for this, but I also received a CVP grant, now Arts Activate, to perform, to make a film and to have performances centered around healing from the city's own police violence. And the fact that there's that kind of support out there is really powerful. So now as an artist, this book is very heavily influenced by the environment. So through this work, I've been able to communicate with local groups like Southern Sector Rising, and I'm taking poetry to the George Allen Courthouse on Friday to a hearing for environmental justice in South Dallas, where so much is happening. And so instead of reading a poem from this, which is very long, I'm going to read a shorter poem, representative, and instead of talking about poetry, I think I really want to share some poetry with you. So I wrote this yesterday. Am I still a poet if I let go this hold on words? My pen has no business describing earth. Let my tongue rest. Correct vocabulary is beyond reach of this mouth. Limestone cannot teach me to tread softly enough across its skin. The cedar said my humming woke all the wolf spiders. How do I worship without disturbing preachers asleep in branches, caw, caw, calling me out from my volume? My body is a poltergeist searching a kitchen. My body weighs more than all the plastic in the oceans. My body seeks, seeks, seeks more than warmth. How free it must feel to be amorphous. I can only say what my spirit needs with silence. One day I will know how to absorb the sky's sermon. One day I will be quiet, quiet. And I'm so grateful for the city of Dallas for giving poetry a voice to be loud. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And because today is not a victory lap and there's so much work to do, I feel responsible to tell you that Will is still bugging me that we need to get going on a poet laureate for Dallas. So the work continues, but thank you so much, Fatima, and I can't wait to read the book, Will. I mentioned some of the arts and cultural commissioners that are here, but if you look at the list, there has been tremendous change since November of last year. I did see another commissioner sneak in, Commissioner McGann. Thank you, but this is a tremendous group, and many of them were involved in the cultural plan. The purpose is to make sure that we continue the momentum with our commission, with our new city council, and all of the new stakeholders. And then I want to acknowledge the steering committee that met quarterly throughout this past year and helped guide us. Many of the stakeholders reported to the steering committee. Today was to have been a regular steering committee meeting, and they graciously thought it was a good idea to expand it and grow it. We will continue, assuming they are still willing, to convene this group quarterly. And as always, we are open, and if you have people that want to join and continue to meet, let me know, and we'll get them added to the list. This group never had a chairwoman or chairman. It's a very welcoming group. We've added people all along the way, and again, the offer still stands. Okay, so that interactive part. Because this is not to be the Office of Arts and Culture reporting to you, today is about our stakeholders and our shared success and progress, I thought it would be really good to kind of get a sense for who's in the room. So if you would take a couple of minutes and turn to your neighbor, ideally one that you did not come with or do not work with, to make it a little more challenging. You can move around. I think it's important to try to recognize all of the different ways the cultural plan has started to pop up in people's life and work and neighborhoods. Maybe share that with each other. And then also, what's still remaining is most important to you. And that's one of the columns in the back, and it was really wonderful to read that list. But it's a 7 to 10 year plan, so helping us focus on those next years is really important. So if everyone could take a couple of minutes, why don't we give each other 3 to 5 minutes to have that conversation. I forgot to give out the critical information, but this probably meant that y'all had better conversations, to write down some keywords, especially around number 2. OCA staff is going to come by and we'll pick them up and go through them and try to get a sense of some of the priorities if they're different than what we're going to talk through. couple more minutes, but we're going to keep moving, but hopefully y'all had a good generative conversation, and a couple of top things rose for number 2. Any questions? Okay, we are going to move on to a quick recap of the past year. Again, this is in no way meant to say that all of this work and the initiatives that we laid out in 2018 are by any way done. But I did want to highlight some of the key accomplishments because so many people in this room were the stakeholders that helped make this possible. If you recall, there are 31 different primary strategies and priorities of the cultural plan, and something like 137 different initiatives. So we are in no way done. But this year we did begin our baby steps, if you will. The very first thing we did in March through May, was train the entire team of the Office of Arts and Culture in equity training. This investment had never been made, and in fact, the city of Dallas was just beginning its own equity initiative, and we were the very first department out of the gate with the new Office of Equity at the city to undergo this training. Coming out of it resulted in 5 pilot projects that touch every one of our departments at the Office of Arts and Culture. Even WRR launched an initiative this summer to help with some advertising support for some of our Alana organizations. It was absolutely transformative for our organization, and we will continue to revisit it. In fact, the commission tomorrow is going on a tour that Anne Marie Gann on our team was very instrumental in helping mount at City Hall, called Undesign the Red Line, which looks at Dallas through a lens of redlining and how that has continued to perpetuate inequity across our city. It touches the Office of Cultural Affairs and so many other city departments. So obviously the work is continuing to occur. We're going to talk more about the Meyerson lease, and I saw Debbie Pena, who's on the steering committee and from the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. This was transformative for the OCA. The Meyerson is a crown jewel of Dallas architecturally and acoustically, and certainly artistically, but it was time for a new management paradigm. So we're going to talk more about that. The 99-year lease resulted in huge savings for the city. We have an amazing partner in the Dallas Symphony Orchestra that is planning for a long-term successful future in the building, both financially and sustainably for their organization, but also to better steward the facility and to help get on top of the long deferred maintenance and improve the customer and patron visitation experience. So that was official on October 1st. They have already painted more in the building than I believe the city had in years. The lobby has an amazing new blue vinyl treatment on it, which is really cool, or the vestibule. So look for more to come, but it's that kind of reappraisal of our system that this plan allowed for. As of last Wednesday night, we have huge news coming out of the Visit Dallas amendment and restating of their contract. If you're familiar with HOT, hotel occupancy tax, the city of Dallas was getting 2.6% of the HOT tax. We have gotten an increase for the next year of 0.9%. I cannot even touch this subject without mentioning Chris Heinbaugh, who did incredible work as our financial analyst, if you will, for all of the different scenarios, working closely with our team and the team at Visit Dallas, but really the convention center of the city of Dallas administers that contract. Thank you to all of you that did outreach to council to let them know that every other city in Texas is in the double digits for HOT. So while we're very excited for that 3.5%, we hope that it's the first step of many. And so that contract will be up for renewal in 2020, and it's going to be the long-term contract at that point. So this is a very encouraging first step. Every single person on council that spoke last Wednesday and mentioned the arts mentioned wanting more than this. So I'm seeing heads nod. Keep beating the drum, please. And then you should have gotten a bookmark when you checked in, but this is one of my favorite projects that was recommended by the cultural plan, and it's called Culture Pass. If you are a Dallas Library card holder, you are now, as of Friday, we've actually had 27 people already go in the system and get tickets. You can go into the library system with your library card number and PIN and peruse offerings of artistic institutions, be it to visit a museum, go see a performance, and they're free tickets. I cannot thank Joe Gadice and Heather from the library system. Where did they go? There they are, who have been tremendous partners. The cultural plan would not be the success that it is without all of our City of Dallas partners. We have friends here from aviation who are huge advisors and help to us in public art primarily and cultural tourism, and then the Parks Department. But on this one, it's squarely in the library, although we do want to include the zoo and the Arboretum eventually. But I would encourage you to please share out Culture Pass after Friday. If your institution is not currently a partner and you want to join, please let us know. The richer the offers are, we want something for Dallas residents and visitors to enjoy 24/7, as we all know. This is in no way is it done. It will continue to evolve, and it is my hope at one point suburbs want to pay to let their library card users access this system.
There are hundreds of ways to experience the arts and culture all over Dallas.
Theater, music and dance, film, literary events, and more.
Visual art exhibits in museums and galleries, large and small.
But did you know that you can get free admission to many of these events?
Introducing Culture Pass Dallas, a partnership between the City of Dallas Office of Arts and Culture and the Dallas Public Library.
Here's how it works.
First, you'll need a library card. A Dallas Public Library card is available at no cost to anyone who lives in the City of Dallas or teaches at or attends a public or charter school in the city. You can get one at any library branch.
Next, use your library card information to log on to culturepassdallas.com and browse the available attractions and event offers.
Choose and reserve a pass to the event and print it out.
Follow the instructions printed on your pass, bring the pass with you to the venue where it will be redeemed, and enjoy the event or exhibit.
You'll receive an online survey to ask for your feedback about the venue or the event. Please take a few minutes to fill it out.
Keep visiting culturepassdallas.com to sample other events and exhibits, and keep enjoying and supporting the arts in Dallas.
For more information, visit culturepassdallas.com or call 214-670-1400.
So we've had 27 people already get tickets, and we'll continue to report back as the usership grows. But I did like that people are already in the system before it's live. We're now going to shift gears and go into arts ecosystem partner highlights. We recognize that in no way is the cultural plan uniquely the work of the Office of Arts and Culture. We love working with and in partnership with all of you all. And so the very first project we're going to hear from today is the Latino Cultural Center, Phase 2. And I'll turn it over to Benjamin, Sarah, and David.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Benjamin Espino. I'm the manager at the Latino Cultural Center, and I would love to introduce our key partners as we move forward, and that is Sarah Cardona. She's the Executive Director of Teatro Dallas, and David Lozano, Executive Artistic Director of Dallas Theater. I'm sorry, Dallas. The Caravia Theater Company. So, that being said, as we were going through the cultural planning process, and we cannot stress enough the input that we had from 9,000 individuals, over 300 meetings over a year. So if you look at the rationale of the LCC Phase 2 project, we saw so many times, I've heard from so many people that space was such a priority. Not only space, performing space and rehearsal space, but when you consider our Alana communities and the lack of space that they have not been able to have access to. So when you look at this and you think about the city's equity focus, and as we look through the lens of equity at everything that we do, with a Latino population that now is 43%, and in probably 5 years it will be at least 50%, this project is so important. Also, importantly, it with the long-term residency program that was just approved by Quality of Life yesterday for Caramia Theater Company at Theater Dallas, it will provide long-term sustained growth. This is so important. And additionally, at a much higher level, it sets a national standard as we, a Latino municipal arts center, create a new standard for best practices for the city. Briefly, the city of Phoenix came to visit with us, the city of Dallas, about 7 weeks ago because they do not have a Latino cultural center, and they're looking to us as best practice. Later that afternoon, I had a phone call with the mayor's assistant for cultural affairs in Houston regarding how they do not have a Latino cultural center. So y'all, this is Dallas setting a standard. And if you think about it, Houston is the 4th largest city with 2.4 million people, and Phoenix is the 5th largest city with 1.7 million people. So we are really setting a standard. Before we go over, I'm going to turn it over to David Lozano. We're going to talk about the overview of the residency company agreements. But before I do that, I would like to thank the working committee who made these residency company agreements. It was Jennifer Scripps, David Fisher, and Commissioner Linda Blaze, who's here with us, and former Arts and Culture Advisory Commission member Albert Gonzalez, and of course, David and Sarah. We worked dozens of hours to make this happen, and we really feel that this is so important to the future and part of the cultural plan. So I'll turn it over to David, and then Sarah will speak.
Good afternoon. It's a real pleasure to be here. My name is David Lozano. I'm the Executive Artistic Director of Cardona Theater. Cardona is the fastest growing Latino theater in the country at this moment, other than maybe Pergones in New York City, who recently merged with another company. The Latino population in Dallas is also exploding. The Latino population may be well over 50% of Dallas after the next census. Yet there's not a resident Latino theater in a City of Dallas venue at this time. Until now, God willing, that the full council votes to approve it on December 11th. And this couldn't come at a better time because we are growing so fast. We can only continue to grow even further if we have space. So now is the time. Our organization plans nothing less than to expand our programming and diversify the variety of programs for the greater Dallas community. We want to add to the cultural center experience at the LCC. Along with Teatro Dallas, the oldest professional Latino theater in Texas, our goal is to help the Latino Cultural Center expand, multiply its programming, and put the Latino Cultural Center on the national map. The vision of the cultural plan makes this possible, with emphasis on space, equity, diversity, and sustainable artists. We have a map to do something transformative when Latinx theaters are struggling across the state. For example, at the Mexican American Cultural Center in Austin, Latino theaters are rotated out every 2 years. And the storied Talento Bilingüe de Houston is going out of business. Dallas can be a national example when the Latino Cultural Center can be the only municipal arts building in the nation to house 2 resident Latino theaters. Finally, our cultural plan is a call to action. The city of Dallas is stepping up to be the leader in terms of equity and diversity. The construction of the new Black Box is an opportunity for the private philanthropic community to get behind our capital campaign. But the private philanthropic community cannot stop there. If we want Dallas to be a truly equitable art city, private funding must continue to flow towards our Latino groups long after the building is finished. That is how the city of Dallas will lead, because that is what the cultural plan calls us to do. I want to thank you all for your support. I look forward to talking to you again, hopefully when Cardona and Teatro Dallas are resident companies of the LCC, and we are in the throes of a fundraising campaign. I have my business card, and I will ask for yours after the meeting.
Thank you. David said pretty much everything, and he's wonderful at that. My name is Sara Cardona with Teatro Dallas, and many of you know my mother, the founding director and artistic director of Teatro Dallas. When she arrived here in 1985, there were no theater companies representing Latinx theater. There were very few theater companies representing any of our Elena groups. And Teatro Dallas was one of the first theater companies, not only to present stories that were about the communities of Dallas, give voice to the city's populations that were underrepresented, but over the last 35 years have worked with almost every major theater company here has served as a catalyst. So Caramia, Soul Rep, many of the directors that are now on the stages across Dallas had their first experiences at Teatro Dallas because Cora came from an international city, that's Mexico City, which always practiced colorblind casting, presented global theater, and that was the vision she brought. So when we talk about Latinx, it's not a monolithic culture. It touches on every other culture from Afro-Caribbean to Sephardic to Levantine communities. We're working this year with groups that are based in Arabic languages. You mentioned literature. We're working with lit groups. We've worked with WordSpace. So Teatro Dallas has really programmed across the city in almost every single district. And I want to emphasize that this partnership, which will bring work and expand the services at the LCC, is also a platform for our theater companies to continue working out in the community. So at the Council Quality of Life meeting, the question was brought up about why is this good for Dallas? And I want to reiterate that when two theater companies that have survived for collectively almost 60 years providing cultural services to every sector of the city and working with almost every group in the city, and representing a different vision of what it means to be an integrated fabric of society, is given the opportunity and recognized and validated by its civic leadership. This is a win for everybody, and we are looking forward to working through this partnership with the city, and I want to emphasize it's a true partnership, to continue doing that and to continue helping emerging groups and to satisfy the mission of the Latino Cultural Center, which is to be a catalyst for Latinx arts and culture, give a voice to our community in the Southwest, and to help develop the new groups that will be coming in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, David. If we could go back to slide 16, I'm going to cover slide 17, 18 very quickly for the sake of time. So just really quickly, yes, perfect. So as everyone can see, the beautiful candy apple green addition to the center, which actually Victor Legoretta himself chose. If we could then go really quickly to slide 18. So the addition itself is 5,200 square feet. It's going to have, obviously, the backstage areas that we need. And most importantly, let's go to the next slide. We have received the initial budget after design development, which is within the $3.35 million authorized by City Council. And as Caramia Theater Company and Teatro Dallas touched on, we will launch a consolidated capital campaign. And I have a wonderful announcement that Caramia Theater's board has committed to raise 20% of that already. So we have $100,000 committed from their board. Real quick, I'm gonna fly through this. So construction bids are currently open. We hope to then evaluate those bids in December. We will then take a construction contract to City Council in February, break ground, which we hope all of you will join us for breaking ground in March, and you'll all receive information. And 26 months after the passage of the cultural plan, we will be opening the new multi-form theater space. So here is the cultural plan in action, beautifully working. So thank you very much.
So thank you, Sarah and David and Benjamin. The next partner update is with the Dallas Area Cultural Advocacy Coalition, and Joanna St. Angelo is going to come give it. We are so grateful for all of the progress that we've had in continuing to have such a supportive council and other levels of government, so I'm going to let her talk about her I'm an Arts Voter.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Joanna St. Angelo. I'm the president of the Dallas Area Cultural Advocacy Coalition, and I'm here with Augustine Halomo, who is vice president.
Who did not know he was going to be up here. So.
As you all know, advocacy only works if we all use our voices together, which is one of the reasons I've asked Tino to join me. I think all of you are aware of the Advocacy Coalition and the work we've been doing for many years to continue increasing the arts budget here locally, to make sure that Texas Commission on the Arts was not sunset, as was tried several times over the past decade. And most recently, we started an initiative, it was a partnership with Texans for the Arts called Arts Vote Dallas. And it was based on a project, a very successful project in Massachusetts called Mass Creative. And we brought in one of their, the people that made that happen to teach us some new tricks about how we could energize and increase the support at a voter level for the arts, for arts and culture. So to do that, we rolled out, we had maybe 3 months to get something done. We started in January, the election was in May. And we had to create a number of events. We had to create a website within the Texans for the Arts and the advocacy websites. And we had to come up with a pledge. And this is the pledge that we asked all of you to take. And you had to be under a rock if you hadn't heard of Arts Vote Dallas during the May election timeframe here. We did a number of events. Engaging with the candidates, that was a big focus. One of those things was a survey, a candidate survey, to get the ideas and experiences of our candidates and their opinions about the arts. And we had, I think, about 40 out of 64 candidates return their questionnaires, including all but 2 of the mayoral candidate, or the current council members and mayoral candidates. And 2 of the current council members had previously submitted surveys. The good news is all of them were supportive of the arts. All of them had attended arts events. Their children were involved in arts events. So it was very gratifying to see that the people that were considering taking leadership roles in our city were supportive of what we were doing. Tino, do you want to talk about all of the events that we did?
Yeah, sure. So as Joanna said, we patterned this after Mass Creative. However, DallasNeedsTheArts.com is the Dallas Area Cultural Advocacy Coalition group that's been around for 12 years. And a lot of the things we had been doing, but we wanted to meet individually with all the candidates, and there were like 61 plus candidates. We wanted to give them the questionnaire. We then put that questionnaire online so that everybody could see their answers. We took pictures of them with the button, either this one or the arts button. We posted that on social media, and we got them to talk about why this was very important, and it does meet one of the criteria in our cultural plan. So we were kind of leading that charge before it happened. We also had a mayoral forum where we got 7 out of the 9 mayoral candidates there. Last Wednesday, if you were at City Council, you saw Adam Basildua with his arts button on. I mean, they are still doing it, and we still talk about it. I do want to say that this doesn't end. You can still take the pledge if you'd like. We were in discussions to launch this in Houston, but those plans fell through. We will resurrect it for 2020, I believe. That'll be a big one. And when you see your council members or your arts commissioners, thank them. That's very important. We cannot thank them enough for doing this, for demonstrating that Arts Vote Dallas is very important. And there are a lot of people that it's important to.
So for anyone who doesn't know, DACAC has their meetings the last Wednesday of every month at the Salmon Center at 5 o'clock. There is a little happy hour to kind of get things started. We do not have one in November and December because we'd be running right into the holidays, and we know you're all busy with a lot of end-of-year events and planning. But we will have our first meeting in January will be the last Wednesday in January at 5 o'clock. And I just want to ask you all to continue the support that you have provided. Please stay tuned to the Dallas Needs the Arts website. That's where we post the information about important initiatives. As you know, things can blow up in a heartbeat, and as I said, we need all your voices. So thank you so much.
So in addition to Culture Pass's launch this week, Space Finder Dallas is now official. And here to talk about it is David Fisher, who's been the man behind the magic.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here. What an exciting couple of years this has been. While we were going through the cultural plan, two really interesting things happened. On one hand, we were mapping all of these places around Dallas where cultural things happened. They were restaurants and churches and rec centers and traditional spaces and craft stores, and we mapped over 600 spaces where art and culture happens. On the other hand, and if you were at any of the meetings, you remember one of the most popular, the most urgent comments was, we need more space. We need more space to make our art, to see art, to experience it in our neighborhoods, downtown, anywhere. So, and space is not only important just for space, but it crosses into equity and sustainable arts ecosystem and support for artists and all of the ways that we make art possible. Next slide. So, how many of you were here for Arts Advocacy Day in 2018? Where we spoke to Randy Engstrom, the director of Arts and Culture in the city of Seattle, and he showed us this little thing, this little project that they had just rolled out in Seattle that was really popular called Space Finder Seattle. And you could have dropped a pin in the room because everyone was like, we must have this here. So we got everything lined up, and as soon as the cultural plan was adopted, we worked to put Space Finder Dallas in place. So I am very happy to say Space Finder Dallas is here. And while Culture Pass is a really complicated system, and thank you to all of you who have been a part of the implementation and the continued implementation of that, Space Finder is really a pretty simple system. It takes people who have spaces and connects people who want spaces. You go onto the home page here and you click on the top and you say, I'm looking for a space for a performance or an exhibition or fabrication or studio space or office space. And then you say, I want it for a day, week, year, whatever. And then in the next page, it brings you up results and a little map of where those results are. And then on the next page, you drill down and it gives you information, more specifics, measurements, what kind of floor does it have, what kind of technical stuff, does it have low availability or is it regularly often, and the most important thing, the contact information for that space. And that is where our work ends. Well, not really. But we then get out of the way after we've made the connection or allowed the connection to happen, and we let the artist and the people with the space make the magic happen. And I think there are kind of three goals to this project. It helps artists and arts organizations find space. It helps people who have spaces fill them up and have them be used and get rental revenue from them. And it's helping us sort of push the boundary, push the box of what an art space really is. We have a couple of bars, we have a couple of restaurants who all say, yeah, we can rent out that room for a spoken word something or a small concert or something. So it's really pushing the boundaries of even what an art space is. As you see here, the system is currently live. We have 34 spaces in it right now. And so out of the 600 that we listed, we only have 566 left. So we're working to finalize, because we have park department and libraries and rec centers, all the traditional spaces, but then we have these churches and restaurants and bars and people's backyards or who knows. So we will continue. The system is now live and usable. We're continuing to every day put new spaces in, and then we will continue to put new spaces in and connect them. Now, you all here, especially the steering committee and our cultural affairs commissioners, I'll give you the same spiel tomorrow, but you all can be of great assistance to us. If you know of a space, or if you own a space, if you run a space, call us and help us help you put it in the system. If you know of a space, hey, I heard that they did poetry there, and it's not in there, call us. We'll contact them. We'll send our mob boss out there to contact them and say, get your stuff in. And third, If you are an organization and you contact someone with Spacefinder, tell them you found it here, so that we continue to say this is a resource that is done by the Office of Arts and Culture and is making our entire ecosystem better. Barbie Bernier in the back, wave Barb, is the lead on this project, and she and I will both be here after the meeting today. If you have any questions or know of someone, give us a lead. We are happy and excited to be launching this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if you're still holding on to cards, if you would pass them down to the end of your row, we're going to come collect them while I turn it over to Glenn from our Cultural Contracts Department to give you an update on Arts Activate. Give him a second.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming this afternoon. My name is Glenn Ayers. I am our Cultural Programs Manager for the Office of Arts and Culture. Everyone's working on that. With the tireless work of my incredible team, that's Adriana Portillo, Liz Acklin, and Rhonda Ivory, we have worked to create and implement a new means of distributing the $775,000 we have for project-based arts and culture funding in the city of Dallas. We've listened to our residents and partners across Dallas and have created Arts Activate, a funding program that will help our division and office address key priorities and initiatives of our cultural plan. Many of you may already know, but over the past 5 or so years, we've gone through various iterations of our project-based funding. Arts Activate is our new project-based funding program, taking the best attributes from our various other programs and rolling them into a single program. Arts Activate is open to applications from individual artists, artist collectives, and nonprofit organizations for any disciplines of arts and culture programming. Arts Activate runs for 3 rounds a year and focuses its goals around connecting to communities and neighborhoods across Dallas, particularly those which have been under-resourced, underrepresented, and underserved. Arts Activate allows us at the OAC to leverage our applicants to provide more programming outside of the urban core of the city by attributing 10% of their total score to where events and services are taking place in the city. As you can see, the map on the right, point and look, is a map of Dallas with 4 different, I've practiced, with 4 different colors representing general concentrations or lack thereof, of arts and culture happenings across the city. The urban core is represented in yellow. This space includes our arts district, the design district, and really active parts of downtown. Our blue area has good concentration, but less than the yellow, and the pink and green, the largest collective areas on that map, have even less, many portions of which can be considered deserts when it comes to arts and culture programming. Next slide, as I put in my notes. Thank you. Aren't these graphs so nice? As of today, we have gone through our first round of Arts Activate, that's the first of 3, and I want to share with you some of our findings. We have 2 charts here representing number of events and attendance by typology for our project-based funding programs. As you can see from the chart on the left, representing events, half of our events took place in the urban core pre-cultural plan, with only 16% taking place in our pink and green areas, right? So a clear lack of equitable distribution across the city. Post-cultural plan, looking at our first round of Arts Activate, our applicant pool alone showed a major increase in proposed events in our pink area. Then after final funding recommendations of round 1, we see 65% of all projected events occurring in our pink and green areas across the city. We can see similar shifts occurring in overall attendance in the chart on the right. A stark majority of the attendance was taking place in the urban core at 71%, and a small 3% in our pink and green areas. We can see that projected attendance is still prominent in the urban core in the round 1 applicant pool. However, after panel administrative scoring, we see that attendance in our pink and green areas is up to 32%, which is really great, of total projected attendance, 10 times the rate prior to the cultural plan and Arts Activate. This is very promising growth in the activation of our pink and green typologies. These results directly address 2 major strategies of our cultural plan, right? So equity, the increase of cultural experiences outside of the urban core, and then space by emphasizing the use of non-traditional spaces. Next slide, please. There's one more outcome of Arts Activate that I would like to share. Here's a chart of our attendance by race and ethnicity. From our census data, we know that the city of Dallas is composed of 42% Hispanic Latinx residents, here represented in the gray. Pre-cultural plan, we saw a major gap in attendance to arts and cultural events in our city with a comparative 22% attendance rate. While this is just data from our first round, the growth of the projected attendance of our Latinx population has grown to 38%. So we're working. This tells me that due to the implementation of Arts Activate, we have encouraged more applicants to engage in communities that have faced barriers of entry to arts and culture programming in the past, and facilitated applicants already doing great work in those communities to receive the support and capacity necessary to continue addressing equity by expanding access to events and providing programming throughout those communities and neighborhoods. Yeah, that's it. That's everything I have for you. It says here, while this program is very new, and we still have 2 more rounds to go for this year, these initial data are really, really encouraging indicators that Arts Activate will be an effective program in addressing the wants and needs of our Dallas communities and neighborhoods, thanks to the guidance of our residents and the cultural plan at large. So now, I would like to hand it over to my colleague, Rhonda Ivory. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Rhonda Ivory. I am the Artist Resource Coordinator for the Office of Arts and Culture. I recognize some of you from panels. I will not be keeping your time today, okay? You keep mine. All right. One of my main responsibilities at the OAC is coordinating the Community Arts Program, CAP for short. So what is CAP? I'm glad you asked. The Community Artists Program provides free cultural and artistic services to the community. We provide services to the residents of Dallas on an as-needed, when-needed basis. Anyone in the community is welcome to submit and request an artist as long as the event is free and in the city of Dallas. The event also has to be open to the public and can't be for fundraising events. In an effort to maintain our alignment with the 2018 Cultural Plan's priorities, the Community Artists Program has added 6 new artists and 1 organization to our current fiscal year's roster, thus providing continuous support for our local Alana artists. Right now, we have 33 artists on our roster. These artists and organizations range anywhere from individual artists to bands to dancers to percussionists, storytellers. We just have a great variety. You should actually check it out. So now, during the past year, we were happy to provide our favorite services, one of which was the Senior Movement Workshop. But we also incorporated new services, such as artistic workshops for the Teen Recreation Program in partnership with the Parks Department. We were also honored to provide visual arts workshops for the Deaf Action Center. This tells us that we are increasing the diversity of our audiences and participants. So, I can tell that I have piqued your interest in CAP, right? So if you'd like more information about the great Community Artist Program, which is available to you and all the residents of Dallas, you can see the list of artists on our website, and you can also access the request form on our website if you just click on the funding tab, okay? So, as I switch hats and switch slides, I would like to introduce you to the Arts and Rec Live Neighborhood Tour Initiative. This initiative was in partnership with the Office of Arts and Culture, the Parks Department, and the library. With the assistance of the Department of Planning and Urban Design, Dallas Police, and 311. This stemmed from the request of our Dallas residents to have more social and cultural activities in their neighborhoods. So the pilot program began by identifying 6 parks with pavilions to which residents were invited to come out and just enjoy games and activities at the park. Over a 6-week period, beginning on October 12th, at the J.W. Ray Park in East Dallas, and ending in November 16th at the Royal Lane Park in Northwest Dallas, approximately 280 residents came out to play bocce ball, cornhole, giant Jenga, and other games. They participated in cultural workshops that included West African drumming, flamenco dance, and our infamous buckshop workshop, which is the New Orleans second line dance class. Yeah, you have to try it. At each location, there was a storytime hour for the children, which culminated with free book giveaways for everyone. The Arts and Rec Live pilot program was broken down into 2 hours of cultural programming, 1 hour of story time for the kids, and open access to games at the park for 4 hours. 311 City Hall on the Go was also on the scene to answer questions and provide city services on the spot. The general consensus for this program from the community was, and I quote, "When are you guys coming back?" So, as we anchor in our cultural plan's 6 priorities, we want our Dallas neighborhoods to know that we hear you. The Arts and Rec Live pilot program has given us the tools that we need to plan and work toward providing more activities in the spring of 2020. So if you're interested in having us come to your local park, please let us know and tune in for more information because we will soon be in a neighborhood near you. Thank you.
Well, we've been talking about how we serve people of all ages, and we have one of our youngest emerging actors with us today from Cry Havoc Theater. Rodrigo Fuentes is here, and he's going to come and share his artist statement. Oh, I'm sorry. And Kat Edwards. I'm sorry, you weren't on my list.
Hi, I'm Kat Edwards. I'm the executive assistant at Cry Havoc Theater Company. We are a youth theater company in Dallas, and we devise provocative theater with our teenagers. If you've heard of us, you're probably very familiar with our verbatim documentary style pieces that focus on social justice issues around the country. This year it was on immigration. Last year it was on gun violence in America, and this year we're tackling climate change. Coming up in the spring, we're also launching 2 other youth offerings, one being a teen arts critic program in which we're pairing teens who are interested in arts criticism writing with mentors and sending them out to review cultural offerings around Dallas. So this is dance, this is visual arts, this is music, and this is, of course, also theater. And we're also launching a teen advisory board, which is really exciting for us. But that's enough about us. This is one of our teens, Rodrigo. He's also worked with Bishop Arts, and he's on the teen board at the Dallas Museum of Art.
So hello, my name is Rodrigo Fuentes. I'm 17 years old. I go to Barack Obama Male Leadership Academy. So I think, being in Dallas, I've certainly had many opportunities I don't think I would have had anywhere else. And it's being a part of, Cry Havoc, being a part of Bishop Arts Theater, being a part of the DMA Teen Council has given me a lot of, tools that I need for my growth in what I want to do. I'm not a theater kid, as you would say. Like, I definitely started theater late. I started 2 years ago. But it's something I definitely want to do for the rest of my life. And being a part of Crossing the Line, which, as she said, was on a piece on immigration, we were able to go down to the border. We were able to go down to McAllen. We were able to go to Brownsville Matamoros Bridge and interview people waiting there to seek asylum, being able to interview and make a piece that impacts so much more than just, I guess you could say more than just, your typical audience, like you being able to reach and try to do something for your community through what I love to do. And, I just think it's great. I feel like this is a great place to be in the arts community. I really enjoy being a part of it.
Thank you, Rodrigo. And if you've never experienced a Cry Havoc play, I highly recommend it. But I also love that I just heard about the plans of Cry Havoc. I did not know about the youth criticism project, and we need more criticism of arts and critical thinking, so that's wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so we are going to spend the rest of the time of the formal agenda talking through what's in process, because as you all know, the work is not done, and thank you for the written comments. I just glanced through them, and they are, as I would have expected, extremely rich. I will tell you, the space issues remain, and so do the ways to support artists. So many of our priorities are in no way done. The work is not done. We didn't expect that it would, but just in glancing through these, the need for space could really beginning to advance our work to support artists for more live workspaces, and obviously to create ways for individual artists in particular to make a livelihood in art. But let me tell you some of the things that our team, and I did want to take a moment and thank the staff of the Office of Arts and Culture. You heard from many of them today, but I do consider myself to be the luckiest person in city government and in Dallas to get to work with these amazing individuals, many of whom, all of whom, are behind the work that you have heard about today and you'll see coming forward. I saw Kevin and Ray Lynn from the Theater Center, the Kalita Humphreys Master Plan that the commission was involved in last year with a task force is underway. Look for an update in the first quarter of next year. But the more we meet with the steering committee, the more we realize just what an opportunity this is for the neighborhood and the park at the Kalita and all of the connections from the Katy Trail down to Turtle Creek and all of the neighborhoods, that it really is this intersection for is really exciting. And then what it can do for theater. The artist micro-residencies, there was a zine outside for the last round. Check it out. The artists have done some amazing work in our sister departments at the city. The third round will be opening in first quarter of next year. We need more artists in city government. There was a wonderful write-up with Sophia Bastiatis from SMU Middle School. She worked in the housing department, and Robert Wolanski, I think, completely fell in love with her micro-residency. But we need to continue this program, so please pass this on. We want to continue to have that support across the city with our sister departments. John Spriggins is hiding out in the back, but he, as general manager of the South Dallas Cultural Center, this was a direct outgrowth of the cultural plan, struck a deal with the park department to become responsible officially for the Mildred Dunn Recreation Center. And when I say recreation center, I mean the recreation center of the 1940s. It was a small building. At the time, the Parks Department was using it primarily for offices, for maintenance and things like that. It will become our first new location for an artist residency, working about a half a mile from the South Dallas Cultural Center and maybe less than a mile from the Juanita Craft House. So huge opportunity to look for the next year. The Craft House was briefed, if you were at Quality of Life, on Monday. It is going to be, I believe, one of the most important places for Dallas to tell our true civil rights history. We did get a $500,000 grant from the Department of the Interior and the National Park Service. We still have a lot of money to raise to get to that $1 million budget, but I do believe it is a story that needs to be told and an asset in our cultural spaces in Dallas that has so much opportunity with everything that's happening in the Fair Park, South Dallas area. So look for that. The RFQ will be going out in first quarter, and special thanks to Nikki Christmas on our team for doing a lot of the work to get that project underway. The library black box improvements. This is a little preview of the commission meeting tomorrow. But you love it when you get a call from the city's Public Works Department that they have found money. And could you think of ways to spend it? And so Ryan, one of the technicians at the Latino Cultural Center, and Linda Blaze, one of our Cultural Affairs Commissioners, and David Fisher went and did a full technical inventory, and Jeff Hurst from Teatro Dallas, about a year ago, of all of the library black box theaters and what capabilities they had, what capabilities they didn't have, and how we could find a way to spend this money. And so it offers a real opportunity to upgrade those spaces. I think all of them are in areas that Glenn referenced that are officially underserved, and can become a more effective home to present arts in communities. So we were happy to take the challenge and put that money to good use. Dallas Arts Month is coming back one way or another, but we will be beginning to plan that for April 2020. Glenn has been working on an exciting partnership with Community Beer to do a designated beer brand. Tell me again, it's a lot. Variable labels, but what's the beer again? Texas Lager. I wanted to say Dallas Lager. Texas Lager that'll be coming out with artists from Dallas decorating, having done the art on the label. This is the first time ever. We don't know what the art looks like yet. Thank you to those of you who have expressed a willingness to sell this beer for us. As soon as it is designed, we will let you know exactly where it's available and where to go get your 6-pack or case or whatever amount you wish to buy. And then last, but certainly not least on this list, Dallas only has one officially recognized cultural district by the Texas Commission for the Arts. We have the Arts District, which we are extremely proud of, and I see Lily back there. Thank you for coming, because you had a big morning. But Houston has 5. And the reason why this is important is there is money available at the state level to support districts that are recognized by the state as culturally significant. We think Fair Park South Dallas is certainly next on the list, and there is a group that is really galvanizing behind submitting our application in early 2020 to get this designation so that we can begin to approach the state and market that area as an official Texas historical district, arts district, cultural district. And there are many more. If anybody wants to share, this I think is the official last slide of the presentation. We want to hear from you. Again, we thank you for the cards. We could not do this work without you and your advocacy. Thank you to DACHAC and all of the stakeholders. Thank you for working with the Office of Arts and Culture and continuing on this as we go into year 2. So thank you.